Hey guys, welcome to the Lone Star Team Roundtable. This is something new we're trying out. We've been roping all day, doing some video shooting. We thought we'd get together and do a little discussion about kind of, obviously, as you can see at this table, the evolution of team roping from kids like Denton Parrish and then my now oldest son, Tanner Tomlinson, and Dustin over here, Coleman. Then you've got kind of the nice way of saying it, the veterans of the game would be Manny and myself. So we're going to just talk about how much the game has changed over the years, the importance obviously with the team roping, the rope makers and what Lone Star has done such a good job with of keeping us in the right ropes for the change of the game. But I think the best way to start that would be, obviously the world is seeing more and more reachers, and Coleman, I'll get to you on this here in a minute because I've seen your game evolve.
It's been long.
you're,
I like how you set me between the two best reachers in the world, and then you singled me out. That's beautiful, and I appreciate that, Patrick. That's how you stay driven in this life. I like that.
Turn the cup. Turn the cup. Don't face
Listen,
it.
I do take that back. When I say two best reachers in the world, I don't mean just me and Dustin. Tanner's on his way. You're well on your way. We know what these guys can do. So.
Well, Patrick, and I think, one of you hit it off the bat, like the evolution of team roping, and you've been a part of a lot of different ropes over the years. Not probably as, Manny's probably back in the day when they used to time between the trees and aged nylon. Remember them days, Manny? But, let's just talk about how, you can specify now so much with what Guy does with our ropes. We're going to the national finals, might get a little cold out there. We can get a little bit of turn on them here, a little bit of backspin for you healers. Talk about the evolution that you've seen through your career.
So my rookie year, I used a medium soft 3-strand.
No, you didn't.
Did, I promise. And if you go back to the videos, it had so much kick in it. I get made fun of this today, even still. That when I'm in the box, it's literally turned so far that from the front angle you can see through.
You're talking like a Travis Trine first
turnover. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I learned to rope. I roped goats a lot, and I used head ropes when I started healing. I wasn't in this area. I lived in Midland, Texas, and I wasn't around professionals, you would say. I just learned from the kind of the handy guys around town. But I learned to rope that way, and to this day, I still use more kick or load in my rope than anybody else I know. Bobby Harris.
See, I like a lot of kick, too. Do you do backswing? You like backswing.
He likes backswing. I like kicking mine.
Yeah, they think that's a header thing. Headers.
Yeah, you've seen me hit. Obviously, it is a header thing.
You spray heat. I know that.
Truthfully, like Bobby Harris used to say, all these professional healers use hard mediums or medium hards and get tons of backswing. And he said, guys like us, we don't need them to build our loop for us. We don't need them to throw our loop for us. Give me some kick where I got to learn to set it down.
And I tried to pick up a heel rope one time and swing it, and it had so much, it's so stiff and so much backswing, just hat off.
Yeah. If he tries to use backswing, that's what's going to happen.
Well, let's face it. I try to let this main out, but that's only after a go round. Not at 8 o'clock in the morning before.
We had a bet of how long it took you to bring the hair out.
You see him riding in the box?
Let's be honest here. If we're sitting here looking at it, just because I'm not spraying as much salt and pepper as you do, doesn't mean they don't get to see it. It's a roundtable discussion. I was bringing all points forward.
This that you see here is actually an add-on. It's called Touch of Gray. You can get it. It's a shampoo. It'll put a little gray in there.
Man, I tell you what,
I was feeling guilty.
The top and there in the bottom, and it ain't working out in my favor. Denton, what do you use in your head rope?
Kick.
You like kick. You like that in your heel rope too?
Yes, sir.
So, what is your mix? When you call a guy and order your ropes, what is it? Because people don't realize, I think, you can get different varieties.
When I heel, I can't use kick like Patrick does. I don't. I'll flip a lot of legs. Yeah, I like them dead straight.
See, I want to be able to maneuver my own.
Yeah.
So that's something I've studied for literally years because I've seen one of the worst NFRs I've ever had. I will never forget this. I get to the NFR. I think I maybe lost a leg or maybe didn't catch a leg. I don't know. I missed the first year, and I went back there, and Rich Skelton, greatest guy, he's won 8 world titles. He's back there. He grabs one of my ropes in the tunnel, in the back warm-up, swings one of my ropes and says, you can't do this. This rope has to have more backswing in it. Well, I got an 8-time champ of the world. I'm like, he's right. You know how it is when you get to the finals. You can have a great year, you can miss one steer, and you're in the parking lot talking to the drivers like, hey, what do you think I need to do? Asking their wives, hey, what
45 minutes.
Yeah, what needs to happen? What do I need to change? So I went and immediately started going literally to the Cowboy Christmas places getting on the racks and trying to find a backswing. And I did, and I went through the next 3 months was the worst I've ever healed in my life because I'd made up my mind. They told me my ropes weren't stiff enough, they didn't have enough backswing, and they were the champs, so I thought that's how it had to be. True story, I come home, I'm roping over here to the indoor in Lipan with Luke Brown, roping terrible still. This is probably early February. And it's really muddy in the alley, and all the steers' legs are muddy, and I ruined all my ropes. We had a few steers left, and I grabbed a head rope that was laying by the box, an old head rope, and got it and healed the best I've healed in 3 months. And Luke's like, I don't know, whatever it is you just did, that's what you need to do. And it kind of clicked with me at that point. First I thought, well, I just need to use a head rope,
Yeah.
because I wasn't smart enough to put 2 and 2 together. But the backswing affects me that much because I used them for so long that I think in my delivery, I trained myself to be extremely deliberate with the bottom part of my hand and really set it down. And when you've got a rope that's trying to get there for you and you're deliberate, mine bounces. Like I get too much bottom, if that makes sense. All you other professionals are going to sit around and talk about how dumb of a comment that is. It's a real thing for me. And if I use a head rope or a rope with kick in it, I can feel the bottom strand better and I guide it to the ground better. So to me, it's personal preference. I think that's why rope companies, so many of them, they don't tie ropes like Travis Graves likes them or some of these Corey Kuntz.
Yeah, I would love to see somebody walk in there to Tractor Supply, grab one of Travis Graves' specials. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, good luck.
Like headed to the World Series Finals in the 8 shoe. Like, here we go.
Wonder why they're
Like,
wrecking
why are they
themselves.
doing this?
Yeah.
How fun do you think that was? Rich Skelton was. I think he was intimidated, and he was like, "Watch this.
Yeah,
You can't use that rope."
yeah. He's probably going to tell, like, watch, here goes Patrick. Watch this.
One less team to worry
Look
about.
what I
Man,
got.
you're another guy. I mean, obviously, you enter a lot more over 40s than the rest of us. But what?
I just turned 26 last week.
That's nice of you. So what? But what? How far have you seen? Because you started out, you were like an old school Willard guy, right?
No.
Over there in school in Missouri.
No, well,
You can't just
I
let me
used-
go with it one time and like kind of.
Yeah, kind of. I used there for a while of Willard, aged Willard.
That's what I was saying. Like tying it.
Three strand.
You thought I was joking, didn't? But
You
look,
weren't kidding. I thought
tied
you
them
were
between
joking.
a tree.
3-strand. I remember as a kid, my dad would buy them and put them in the washing machine after.
What?
Yeah, just to
Get a better smell on
and
them.
then they
or-
would stretch them. They'd stretch them with a tractor and let them air out. And that's how. And he used them medium hard, 7/16 full.
Big dog.
And
That's why Bobby.
That was when you used
Harris
to cut
is-
in, get the
I
bump.
bet
and
he was
done.
swole.
That's why there's a lot of shoulder surgeries
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
It feels like.
So,
But no, like in my career healing, I was probably the last guy to ever go to a 4-strand. And then when I started heading, obviously I was using a 4-strand. But it's and in my deal, I've always used a medium soft, and here the last year and a half, I've gone to a softer rope because, especially now with this.
Medium soft heading, you're saying.
Yeah, medium soft head rope. I always used a hard medium heel.
That's
rope.
like a Egusquiza thing. Both you guys are medium soft though.
Well, I did it for a while, then I realized that now with this Frio, I can go with the soft rope and have a little more send to my rope.
And it stays open better.
Yeah, and it helps me ride my horse better. Obviously, like you guys say, I'm getting older. I ain't getting in the gym no time soon, but and it
we're in the
helps
gym
me.
when
We
you're
all don't
younger
have
either.
time.
but
It
yeah.
helps me to control keep my swing. You know, like you got a great swing. When you pick your swing up, you always talk about his swing and everybody else's swing. You're always real polite to everybody. But you got a great swing because you're over the horns, and you have your shoulders are strong. You've been working out,
It's never too fast. It's always
and it's
flat.
just
See,
smooth.
I'm always
And then
trying
you
to
just
speed
kind
mine
of
up.
get the little flip out there, and it just
Half
slick
head.
halves.
Y'all want
boy.
me? You want
I
to come
feel-
sit over here? You want me to scoot over so you guys?
I feel like your first
All
swing,
together.
if you try to speed it too
You know,
fast, it'll close up.
And then Tanner, he's rangy. Dustin's rangy, and they're all using smaller ropes. And now when they come tight on the horns, it's fast and tight. Where that, me and Monty Joe, we break it down a lot. And he goes, your rope. He called me in the summer. He said, you send me all these videos. Your rope ain't shutting. I'm like, what do you mean my rope ain't shutting? He goes, it needs to shut on the horns. So I've worked on my rope shutting on the horns, and the only way I can get it is if I get like the Fever or the Frio, or sometimes I'll use the Helix regular size, and those ropes shut on the horns.
Man, it's awesome to talk about like the revolution and the evolution of like our rope business. And what I thought was so cool was when I first came along, so I was hearing the stories about guy, like where they started and they had that old truck. Did you ever hear this? And where they started at, like they would be stretching them and he'd be like, well, I knew for a medium soft, I had to let he'd just set the old parking brake and slide the truck back when it slid that far. That was a medium soft. All the way down now to where like the core technology, man, that has been huge.
Oh, yeah.
The way they can, I love how every one of my ropes, it feels like you can go straight from the ties. Because I'm bad to use a new one every time because I want it fast,
Yeah.
Hung out with Speedy too much and want those ropes
Well,
fast.
the good thing about Guy is when he swings his rope, he can turn it over, so he can give us the kicks and the straightness, and he understands that part. He swings his rope good, turns his rope over good, so he understands
Yeah.
where that.
He
where-
handles the rope good
Right,
enough where
handles the
he
rope
can
good
swing
enough
it.
where, hey, I want one that's
Yeah.
got 0. He'll just get it off the rack and swing it, and he knows where 0 is.
And I love how receptive he is. I've definitely been a part of other companies, and that wasn't always the case. They were kind of set in their ways of like, hey, I'd like to try something. Maybe give me
Right,
a little,
yeah. That's right. Every time I ask for a rope, with
Yeah,
other-
every
with
time you
other
do.
other companies, and I thought, hey, it's getting colder. I want some kick. Well, that's not what we do.
Because there for a while, I'd call him up, and he'd be like, man, Manny's been talking to me, Coleman, and he said you need it. I was like, don't let Manny mess up my rope. You leave Coleman's batch the same.
I have to tell him the same thing about the heel ropes. Well, Manny said this. I'm like, have you seen
Well,
Manny Hill?
I don't heel very good.
Have you seen Manny Hill?
I think one other thing too, we
Can't
talk
catch
about
two out of three.
evolution, and I think this is where the game changer's been, is the way that Lone Star makes their string. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Not having the body come in. I
Right.
mean, that's
That's huge.
quality control from the floor up. I
Right.
mean, they're making the string not only for each twist of the nylon, but for the core, which I think the core deal. I don't know if you guys know, like the twist they put on the core and put them
Right.
inside. I mean, obviously I use the Fever because it's really fast, but it still has that deadness to it. Like when I'm too slow with my slack, or maybe I've thrown a bad loop and I need to fish a minute. Like she'll kick open, but it don't want to bounce
Yeah,
off.
it won't
clicker,
bounce off, hit
the
the
good
shoulders.
Coleman Proctor
Yeah, that's
clicker.
right.
That clicker is
Hey,
important sometimes.
You can win $500,000 on a half hit.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
not
knows
bouncy. He has
how
a lot
much,
of forgiveness.
how much science goes in. Like Amber said, she called Guy the mad scientist, but nobody understands how much detail goes in. Like the Thunderbird rope, we've literally went back and forth between how the core is twisted, whether it's individually with the strands of the rope or whether the strands were twisted first and then added. I mean, it's unbelievable how much you can take the exact same material on the exact same day and make ropes and spin them differently or tie or twist them differently, and they don't even feel like the same rope. So I think it's important that we do talk about, for the public, I think we do talk about a little bit of how much a rope can change versus, I've already been talking to Tanner, so this is his first trip to the NFR. And I said, look, whatever you do, have a few bags of ropes. And sometimes the ones that feel the worst here will feel the best in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
Get some with too much kick, not enough kick, and just right for here. Because so many times I've done it and I've seen other people do it. You'll get your bag ready. You're in Texas. It may be 85 degrees and humid. You get to Vegas round one, it might be 33 degrees and wind blowing 40 miles an hour.
No
And your
humidity.
rope feels
No
dry,
humidity.
whatever. It's
Right.
completely different feel when you get there. And just keeping it inside sometimes doesn't do it. But I think for the public to understand the importance of your rope care and breaking in your ropes, the age of your rope, I know a lot of people that they'd say, man, I'm going to just buy whatever, 15 ropes, that'll last me all year long. That's not how this works. If you have 3 hard medium heel ropes and you leave them hanging in your tack room for 6 months,
You now have 3 medium really hard.
with extremely,
That's
you're going to knock your hat off your head when you try to
Hello,
swing them.
think.
Yeah, but it's really important to understand that cold weather means backswing. The colder it is, the more your rope's going to backswing. The hotter it is, the more kick you're going to get. I don't care what rope company it is. If it's 105 outside and you leave your rope in the sun, your rope's not going to feel good. I don't
With our
care.
loop built.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care who says all
And I
these.
just think like nylon, it reacts different than poly. Like a poly blended rope in the cold always keeps its body like a feeling a little more true to its stiffness. And I mean, there's a lot of variables there. That's a great.
Yeah,
point.
poly seems to do better in the cold. Nylon seems to handle heat more. I mean, I remember, roping with Trevor for all those years, and they were working on his ropes, and I was working on my ropes, and we would get these all nylons, and you could swing one in the tack room and then lay it out in the sun for 15 minutes. Completely different rope. I mean, it completely changes the
And
feel
I'm
of
not
the
very
rope.
Well,
good
they
about
don't.
that.
They
That
don't.
is-
People don't put a thought process to that. How many times you go to Jackpot and they got their loop built with the coils and just go in there to get something to drink, leave their horse tied out in the sun.
That's exactly.
And then
me.
they go, man, my rope turns on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
and I think a rope's not like I remember I went golfing with my dad and we were looking at golf balls and I'm looking at all the different kinds and he finally tells me, look, son,
They all float the
this
same.
is not going to matter. You're really wasting your time. You don't play, this is not going to matter. The expensive golf balls are the ones that make your head come up, okay? Buy the cheap ones so you're not worried about it and hit the ball. But a rope is a lot different. When you're talking about the fundamentals of setting a bottom strand on the ground or having enough kick in your rope to turn over to catch the horns, it is important. So if a header goes out there with a ton of backswing, you're probably making your day rough on you. I can't tell you how many schools or private lessons I've done with people and they come over here and they cannot set their rope down and I'll swing their rope and it has, it's 6 months, 8 months old, so much backswing. And they feel like a new person when I just hand them a rope and say, here, just try this.
This is my favorite. You're talking about schools, man. I had a guy show up one time. It was so awesome. He walks in the barn. Mind you, think about the expense of, like, he's came to my house for a day. So, it's a full day lesson. And people don't understand, your rope is the cheapest, most important tool you have in team roping. Because I don't care if you're at the BFI, the national finals, man, when you swing your rope and it feels good, all of a sudden you step on, your horse feels
One
better.
less thing you have to worry
Everything feels
about.
better, right?
Everything.
I'll never forget, he walks in with a bag of ropes that I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot of ropes in my day, and I've never seen these ropes, right? Picks them up, and the first thing he tells me is how cheap they are, right? And I'm like, oh. So I just kind of nod and look at him, right? Kind of give him, and I'm not good. I don't have a poker face. My wife tells me all the time because she can tell exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Behind my head. I think I'm being coy, but I'm not. And he said, well, then they feel good too. I said, no, they don't. Like, I just came with it. Like, no, they don't. I haven't even touched them. But I said, if they felt good, that'd have been the first thing you'd have said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
See, having that extra little cost and care is huge. And I'll be honest with you, I've gone to the national finals having 48 rope bag or 48 boxes of ropes just everywhere piled up, look like Speed Williams out there swinging through every one of them, right? And I've had them broke in perfectly, and then I always end up using just a brand new one when I get there. The problem is you don't want too many choices because you got enough stuff to kind of be balancing on your head. So usually what I do, I just break one in at the break in and go on.
That's been me there too. If it works, if I catch with it,
Yeah, if I catch that first one,
it's
that
going
baby's
back
9, 10
next
in a row, you know?
I'll ride it till the bitter end. Yeah, it can handle 10 runs. That's for
What's
sure.
your break-in process, then?
Whatever stays on the horns the best is what I'm using.
Like that day? Like, do you go brand new one at the jackpot, like true clay trying style, brand new one at the jackpot, you're running 10 with it today? Or
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
have them broke in? No, what is your
One
like
or two,
go-to?
one or two of each.
Broke
One or
in
two,
ready.
Yeah.
What about you?
One or two new ones.
I like to start with a new one,
Even healing?
especially
See, I like a broken.
It stays new.
You know what I mean?
It stays new. Maybe a little frayed, but stays new.
my problem is trying to find a trash can to put my ties in before the rope starts.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that like the most disrespectful thing ever is to go to a guy's arena and just pop them? Like, I have people show up at the house and they just pop those ties off.
Just slinging them all
Just
over you.
everywhere. Like,
On the ground, I'm over there picking them up. Just,
I'll get them in a minute.
That's a little Lone Star 2 for there. All right, when you break in your new rope and you take it out there, kick it out of the ties, find a trash can. But put them in your pocket. You
Yeah,
can't
come
find a
on.
spot.
Be
Put them in
cordial.
your pocket.
Well, I think, so wrapping this little session up, I think the important thing is don't just go buy a rope because you heard it's the best rope from somebody down the road or whatever. You got to learn what fits you, whether that's, medium, hard medium if you're healing, or extra soft, And I'll be honest with you, I change. I still can't decide whether it's just mood or if it's time of year, but I switch from a medium to a hard medium throughout the year, just depending. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When it's working right, I'll just keep using it. But it is important to take care of your ropes, to understand the difference in backswing and kick, which if you go to some of the other Lone Star clips, I talked about that today and exactly showed a rope of what is backswing, what's kick, because it does make a huge difference. I don't care how cowboy you are. When you're trying to be precise and set your loop down, what fits you best, that's what matters. So find the right rope.
Well, it's gotten too fast anymore to make corrections.
Yeah.
And I think, around this table, you've got 5 different styles of ropes that we use. Like, then what's your rope of choice?
Frio.
Frio. Well, you might have 2 different ropes. Go ahead.
Frio.
Thunderbird.
For
It's like say you have to be. It's all over your face. I'm obviously a fever man because I got a fever.
he'll be Frio eventually.
I've been healing medium soft for a long
Since the day it came out.
Are you Frio man now though?
time. No, sir.
Not, you're
He's
not
a
coming
helix.
over?
He's a helix
I used
face.
it at one rodeo. I think I used it at 2 rodeos. I caught the first
Face.
one. I'm like, man, this might be a new deal. And then I missed the second one. I'm back on.
So
I'm not gonna
Now-
lie. I'm
now
not
it's
gonna
in his
lie.
head.
All summer, when we come bouncing along there, and we always saw his green rope that never missed. Dustin come up swinging one day, and I'm like, hey, what are we doing there? He's like, well, his never misses.
Yeah.
This other one hadn't been going on. I'm
See,
like,
you
so we
went
both
all-
over there swinging these trios, getting it ready.
You got all in his
That's
head,
exactly
now
what I
he's
told the guy.
questioning
I
it.
haven't seen Tanner's miss yet, so I need to get some of those out here.
Well, I went ahead and just grabbed my fever and grabbed the Frito pie. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
face of the fever, helix, 3 Frios, Thunderbird.